could, I gotta tell you, Tyler is one of the most amazing people I've ever met. I've never seen him ever have a bad day. I've never heard him on the other end of the phone and be down. And quite honestly, he's more mature and has more wisdom. I know than myself for sure, and probably than a lot of people in the room tonight. He is, in addition to being a great friend, he's truly an inspirational person. I really mean that. So, thank you for being here. It really means a lot to me. I haven't won a lot of individual awards in my life, but I have sat through a lot of dinners. I'm not usually that funny, so enjoy that. But I'll do my best to make sure that the length of my remarks are not the topic of your conversation. On the way home, I'll do my best. So if I could just start, I'd like to reposition this award slightly and take the liberty to do that. This really is not an individual award. This is an organizational award, and I truly mean that. It's not a hollow statement. Each one of us with the Thunder really is just a caretaker in the role in which we serve. And without the organization, okay, without the logo that you see over there, none of us would have the opportunity to influence anyone in the community. But more importantly, I always feel that we really have been the recipient, because without working for an organization that's run with the values like Mr. Bennett has instilled, and with some of the great players that we've been fortunate enough to have wear a uniform, people like myself and many other people that work for the organization don't get to meet people like Tyler, don't have the opportunity to build the relationships with the National Memorial, don't have the opportunity to meet the people from Rebuilding Together or the Boys and Girls Clubs. So even though tonight is technically a ceremony to honor the Thunder, it's also an opportunity for us to honor the community because of the relationship that has been built and will continue to be built over time. Secondly, if I could just also say that anytime you see my name in print or you see me on television or speaking on behalf of the team, please know that I'm really one person of a group of people in the front office. We have a tremendous group of people that work in the front office that I'm grateful to work with on a daily basis. They're absolutely influential to everything we do. Not a decision is made by our team without a real round table and collaborative effort. And I lean on them constantly. And many of them are here tonight, and if we could give them a round of applause. We're all sitting in the first two tables. Truly is, it's pretty cool to work with these people, I gotta be honest with you, and I've been so lucky, so it means a lot to me that they're here this evening as well. I really have two key messages that I'd like to convey this evening with the time that I have. The first is, accepting an award with the names of Coach Lemons and Coach Hansen is very impactful, not just because they won a lot of games, but also because when you think about it, they really helped grow the game in the state. They were clearly here a lot longer, before we arrived. So basketball in itself was really influenced and but definitely accelerated due to their efforts. So that means a lot on a personal level and also collectively for our organization. Second, as I touched on earlier, the Thunder's mission is really the reason why I'm standing here, to be, totally candid with you. And to really appreciate the team and what it stands for, I think it's important that we reflect on really where we were when we started. So if I could take you back to July of 2008, I can remember when I walked off the plane for the first time coming from Orlando from Summer League. And the first thing I noticed was very windy. In fact, so windy that we finished the trade for Desmond Mason a couple weeks later, and I was literally outside standing behind a pillar at the Chase building so I could block the wind so the other person could hear me. And I was kind of my first introduction to the weather. But in July 2008, when we arrived, the logo was there. That did not exist. The shield that we've come to know and associate with the team was not in existence. The name didn't exist. We didn't have a place to practice. We didn't have much of anything at the time. But what we did have was a vision. We had a vision not only for our team, but we had a vision for an organization. Teams change year to year. Actually, teams change day to day when you think about it, because they're a group of people collectively, and all those people are influenced by different things at different times. But organizations are built to last. Organizations are built to endure cycles that exist in professional sports. And as we set out to kind of build a foundation for the organization and not just the team, we focused on a few characteristics, and the first of which was sustainability. Justice Taylor talked about that. Sustainability we felt like was very important. Whenever we made the playoffs, and I know early in that year, it probably didn't look like it was going to be very soon, because it was the 3-29 start. But whenever we did, and were fortunate enough to get to the playoffs, whether it was 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years down the line, we didn't want that to be an appearance. We wanted that to be an entrance. We wanted that to be the start of an opportunity for us to have a cycle of continual competitiveness. And that's hard to achieve, but sustainability was very, very the foremost front of our mind. Secondly, we really felt like we wanted to build with character players and character people. We're not judge and jury on anybody, but we do feel that we need to spot people that want to be a part of what it is that we're trying to do with the team, that want to play here in Oklahoma City and want to wear that logo across their chest. That's very important. We also felt like humility would be a very, very important quality to building an organization that could endure. And Winston Churchill had a quote that has always stuck with me, and that's that success is never final and failure is never fatal. And I think that is an important quote in sports, because even if you're fortunate enough to win the last game of the season, you still have to come to work the next day, no matter what. And even if you don't win it, you got to come back. It's not the end of the world, as Tyler alluded to earlier. But I think humility is a very important characteristic to our team. And who would have ever thought that starting 3-29 that first year would actually be the foundation of which we would be building an organization that we felt could last for a very long time. We also focused in on the quality and value of development. And we wanted people, when they're with the Thunder, to do the best work of their lives. We wanted players to improve and get better, so that even if we weren't able to keep them with our organization and they were to go on to other places, that the other organization would reap the benefits and feel good about getting a player from Oklahoma City because they started here. We felt like we wanted our staff to meet incredibly high standards, but as I said earlier, to be invested in not complying with what the Thunder's mission was, but really committing themselves to that. And we really felt like development was a core attribute that was important to us on and off the floor. And then lastly, being community-minded. I mean, that's obviously a big theme of why we're here tonight. And I'm proud to say that in the 5+ years that we've been here, we've done, and this is an accurate tally as of today, 1,111 community appearances by our players. And what I can tell you is, a lot of times, thank you. One thing I'd like to illustrate for you is there's a lot of times when these players are leaving practice to go to these community events, and I promise you, right before they walk into that school or get on the book bus, they're taking off ice bags. You know, they're walking on there to the book bus after battling Marcus Sullivan Post the night before, which for any of you that haven't tried it before, it's really difficult. But those guys do a tremendous job. It's not the number of appearances. It's the quality of them. And I really feel that our guys do a great job in those situations. And don't tell anybody, but Kendrick Perkins happens to be the best at that. You can't let that out of this room. So let's stay here. So these core values that we're discussing, they should sound familiar, okay? Because these core values are also the core values that when we arrived in Oklahoma City, that's what we saw. Those are the values in which we felt like the city was being enhanced and accelerated with, and had long existed and part of the Oklahoma standard. So make no mistake, it's not a coincidence that we are trying to build a sustainable organization on the same values in which this city and this state has been built for many, many years. And we just want to be a part of that. And that's how we see ourselves. I was in London when Jim Abbott called me and told me about this award. So I was at the Olympics, and at first I was a little bit taken aback, and obviously humbled by it, and thought it was great, for our team and for our organization to be recognized, especially with the people that have been awarded this in the past. But immediately I was really interested in Coach Lemons and Coach Hansen, because obviously I'm not from here. And I spent some time with Jim learning about Coach Lemons and his humor and one-liners and sarcasm and all of the things that made him charismatic. And I was recently fortunate enough to go to lunch with Mrs. Hansen and her daughter Elizabeth, who couldn't be with us here tonight. And I learned an incredible amount about Coach Hansen. He loved to play badminton. He was able to walk to the gym every day from where they lived. He saw himself as a teacher first and a coach second. And so I was getting filled with all this knowledge. I had a wonderful afternoon. But what really resonated with me, what I couldn't seem to shake out of my head for the next 2 days was, these guys coached together for 18 years. That's a lot of timeouts. That's a lot of practices. That's a lot of trips. That's a lot of bus rides. Probably a lot of meals. And it was remarkable to me, not the winning, but the relationship that had to exist. And the more I thought about it, it wasn't about basketball, because a last-second shot that goes through the buzzer, or a great play called out of a timeout, those things are momentary. They last. As Churchill said, you still have to come to work the next day. But what was really there, once I peeled it back and thought about it myself, was there is a true shared purpose for those men. Now, from everything I've gathered, they were very different personalities, okay? But they were clearly aligned by the shared purpose. And to stay with the theme of shared purpose, I really do think that it applies to the Thunder as well, and our community, because it's something that exists and is palpable in everything that we do. As we look forward as an organization, and I think most professional teams would say this, nobody can guarantee on-court performance in professional sports. There's too many things that are out of your control. It's such an uncertain world and such a volatile place that it's impossible to say this is going to happen. But what I can tell you is that the caretakers of the organization, the people that have been given the opportunity to establish the organization early in its process, are going to work incredibly hard to build an organization that is capable of enduring, and it has the identifiable qualities of so many people that live and reside and contribute to Oklahoma as a whole. The relationship that exists between the Thunder and the community is at the foremost of our minds. And we appreciate where we are, but we also know that those things are cyclical. And that's the world that we live in. But we can certainly guarantee you that we're going to continue to try to build the best organization we possibly can. And that absolutely, at its core, is about the shared purpose with the community. If we can do that, if we can continue on this path, if we can continue to build our relationship, we can continue to share that purpose, then I truly believe that we'll be able to possess a relationship with as much depth and cohesion as the one that exists on the award that I'm having here tonight. That relationship in and of itself is really about shared purpose. And I see our relationship with the community burgeoning. And hopefully one day we'll share that same quality. I want to say again how humbled the organization is to receive this award. It means an incredible amount. But please know that this opportunity is also a chance for us to say thank you to everybody that's ever turned on the television, bought a ticket, bought a hat, or even just thought about the team. Because in Oklahoma City, it truly is a team effort. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the front office and all the people with the organization for the recognition. And most of all, I want to say thank you. So have a great evening.